Zoologists play a crucial role in understanding and preserving the biodiversity of our planet. These dedicated scientists study animal behavior, genetics, ecology, and evolution, contributing to knowledge about how different species interact with each other and the environment. However, Adam Britton, a 53-year-old zoologist famous for his work with crocodiles and productions on major global television networks, was shockingly accused of a terrible crime. In April 2022, a notorious case impacted the Australian community. Adam Britton, a widely recognized zoologist, had done admirable work by providing shelter to dozens of dogs, often neglected by their owners. What most people didn't know was that behind his appearance marked by empathy and passion for animal life, there was a monstrous individual hiding. Adam, a crocodile specialist and presenter of a renowned BBC wildlife program, shocked the world when his atrocities were revealed. The semblance of a great professional concerned with the animal kingdom was actually distorted and depraved. The truth is that this individual concealed a darkness that had been carefully disguised, allowing him to access his victims under the guise of genuine interest and professionalism. A series of unspeakable acts, filled with extreme cruelty and cynicism, will be exposed in this account, which begins with fragments of the night. Therefore, we should start from the beginning. Although Adam Britton's case is not simple, there is a scarcity of information about his years before rising to fame, and even less about his childhood. However, disturbing data has emerged showing that his depraved behavior began in his teenage years. Adam Britton was born in West Yorkshire in 1971 and, from an early age, showed a clear interest in zoology, as stated in his personal blog. His mother, who was an enthusiastic naturalist, was one of his greatest inspirations, and his biology teacher, Ball Richards, also contributed to sparking his passion for animals. Britton graduated in science from the University of Leeds in 1992, and between 1992 and 1996, he completed his doctorate in zoology, with research on homemade methods for studying bats at the University of Bristol. However, his dream was always to leave the UK to investigate the creatures that had fascinated him since childhood, especially crocodiles. He had a profound desire to help redefine the increasingly tense relationship between humans and reptiles. For him, it was crucial to create mutual understanding and promote peaceful coexistence between both species. The increase in conflicts resulting from human contact with reptiles, often due to urbanization and degradation of natural habitats, required an innovative and empathetic approach. Through his research and conservation actions, he sought to educate people about the ecological importance of reptiles, dismantling myths and unfounded fears. His goal was not only to protect these animals, but also to ensure that future generations could appreciate and live harmoniously with the rich diversity of life, arguing that if people didn't understand these animals, there would be little hope of convincing them of the importance of their preservation. This was the perspective he adopted in outlining his trajectory, particularly during the 1990s. He began his journey towards one of Australia's most inhospitable regions, known as the Northern Territory, home to the world's largest population of saltwater crocodiles. The chosen destination was the Crocodile Park, where he was welcomed by a pioneering professor in the study of these creatures. At the park, he worked on audio-visual projects and medical investigations into the antibiotic properties of crocodile blood, serving as a researcher. Although he demonstrated competence in his activities, his behavior was often interpreted as strange, as he avoided social interactions, leading some to consider him a more isolated person. In 2006, he left the Crocodile Park to start a competing consultancy business about crocodiles, in partnership with his wife. Later, he worked as an adjunct researcher at Charles Darwin University, where, despite his professional skill, he was perceived as arrogant and, consequently, unpleasant or offensive to his colleagues. While no one could imagine the depth of cruelty and depravity that lurked behind the young reptile specialist, there was a notable fact that contributed to the poor impression his colleagues had of him: the severance of all ties with his professor and mentor in the field. This act not only generated a sense of competition, but also made him claim as his own some works that had been carried out as a team at Crocodile Park. Reflecting on the former student, his mentor commented that many scientists work in collaboration and that knowledge is often shared. He stated that although there are librarians with vast information, few seek recognition for the contribution. In 2013, he co-founded a virtual database on crocodile attacks with collaborator Brandon Siddle. Although he took credit for the files, he did not contribute any specific incidents. Siddle's only role in the project was acquiring the site's domain. During this period, his career and prestige reached considerable heights. His crocodile farm served as the backdrop for various documentaries and audiovisual productions, including fictional works, and he was recognized as a respected authority in the field. Australia was requested to produce a variety of specialized materials, which included crocodiles. However, this situation took an unexpected turn, and no one was prepared for what would become evident about Adam Britton's double life. The incident began with something that appeared innocent. Adam started working diligently on the GT Australia platform, a very popular marketplace. However, he did not make any purchases or sales. Instead, he showed interest in abandoned dogs that their owners could not take with them when moving. The adoption of abandoned dogs was reported by neighbors. Adam Britton wished to take in these animals, committing to provide suitable homes where they would be cared for. This attitude did not seem wrong. On the contrary, it was remarkable and an incredible demonstration of care for abandoned animals, considering he had dedicated his life and career to the preservation of animal life. Many of the owners of these pets later contacted him to inquire about the health status of the animals under his care. Britton, in turn, sent them photos of the dogs looking healthy and happy. However, his behavior on the GT platform began to attract attention, showing a pattern of persistence and, on some occasions, pressure on pet owners. These owners, reluctant to part with their animals, presented various excuses, which led to the police being called after several users alerted authorities about his conduct. The investigation into Britton's actions advanced discreetly until an anonymous tip led to his arrest in April 2022, after a video he sent provided a clue about his location. Britton made efforts to hide his identity and place of residence, but a small detail revealed in a film, a puppy with a bright orange collar in the city, led to his capture. The investigation into Adam Britton, conducted in Darwin, resulted in alarming conditions being discovered on his property. What was found on the farm seemed to reflect the content of a nightmare, presenting a horrifying scene in a container equipped with devices to record animal bodies, including dogs on the brink of death and skulls of other canines. Videos were revealed documenting the systematic abuse of animals that Britton claimed to have rescued. It also became evident that his inseparable dogs, Ursa and Bolt, were also subjected to abuse. Additionally, it was found that Britton belonged to an encrypted group on Telegram, where he communicated under a pseudonym and had frequent exchanges with others who shared interests in abuse and zoophilia. The situation worsened with the seizure of various electronic devices, including cell phones with video cameras, other cameras, external hard drives, and computers. These devices contained illegal material, which included not only evidence of animal abuse but also content involving minors, including very young children. Although this material was not recorded by him, it was acquired through information traffickers and illicit content sites. Between November 17, 2020 and April 22, 2022, the day Adam Britton was arrested, it was found that at least 39 of the 42 dogs kept on his property, including puppies acquired via the internet, had been victims of abuse and torture. In June 2023, Judge Michael Grant of the Northern Territory Supreme Court imposed a retroactive prison sentence to April 2022, the date of Britton's arrest, who could apply for parole after serving 6 years of incarceration. The crimes committed by the defendant were classified by the judge as indescribable and grotesque, and he is considered guilty with an overwhelming amount of evidence against him, including 63 charges of animal abuse and possession and distribution of illegal material. Court documents reveal that Britton kept his perverted practices hidden for almost his entire life, having initiated sexual relations with equines at age 13, an activity that became obsessive. Legal records indicate that his sadistic tendencies led him to abuse friends since 2014. Two pets, named Ursa and Bolt, were in a rural residence in the Australian city of Darwin. The shock and repulsion caused by the disclosure of details of this case generated reactions not only in Australia but worldwide. Those most affected seemed to be those who knew Adam Britton personally, including friends, neighbors, and colleagues. Adam Britton's professional reputation was indisputable, but no one could imagine that he would be capable of committing such extreme acts of torture and bestiality, in addition to consuming illicit materials. The news also had an impact on the general community, as the report spread through social media, where various people formed Facebook groups dedicated to following the case. These individuals attended court hearings and participated in protests demanding the death penalty, even though it was abolished in Australia in 1985 and crimes against animals do not qualify for such a penalty in any Western country. The specific details of the practices perpetrated by Adam Britton that affected animals were exposed during the trial and were of such nature that a small contingent of people traveled to Darwin to be present when the sentence was pronounced. Many of them cried inside the courtroom upon hearing the details of his crimes, considered too graphic to be publicly disclosed. Britton's lawyer emphasized that his client suffered from a rare condition that provoked intense and atypical intimate interest since childhood. However, the sentence was harsh. He was sentenced to 10 years and 5 months in prison, with no possibility of requesting a case review or early parole before serving the first 6 years of the sentence. Additionally, he will not be allowed to acquire or possess animals again. In prison, Adam Britton wrote a letter, which was read by his lawyer, expressing his remorse. He pleaded guilty and took full responsibility for his degrading crimes, stating that he deeply regretted them, acknowledging the pain and trauma he caused to innocent families and, consequently, to his own family, friends, and members of the affected community. Britton promised to seek long-term treatment. However, a disturbing detail was revealed by Judge Grant, who stated that he had not noticed any sign of remorse from Adam Britton while incarcerated. The individual confused his ex-partner with a disturbing request, asking for books with canine themes, which made evident his attempt to satisfy his perverted thoughts even behind bars. The case of Adam Britton highlights the urgent need to strengthen animal protection measures and ensure that crimes of this nature are treated with the utmost seriousness. Britton's conviction represents an important judicial effort to respond firmly to deplorable attitudes and ensure that such atrocities are not tolerated. Society as a whole, including the scientific community and animal rights advocates, hopes that such a horrific incident never happens again. Britton's sad story serves as a constant reminder of the need to recognize and combat animal cruelty with the full force of the law, reinforcing the message that such actions are unacceptable. As the information about Britton's case gains international attention, there is hope that other potential threats to animal rights can be identified and stopped before causing so much suffering. The global exposure of the case should serve as a warning about the importance of continuous vigilance and proactive action in protecting animals. Animal protection organizations can leverage the notoriety of Britton's case to intensify awareness campaigns, educating the public about the signs of abuse and encouraging reporting of mistreatment. Collaboration between governments, NGOs, and civil society is essential to build a solid network for animal protection. Furthermore, the implementation of stricter policies and the guarantee of adequate resources for the enforcement of animal protection laws are fundamental steps to prevent future abuses. Legislation must be constantly reviewed and updated to reflect emerging needs and challenges faced in defending animal rights. Finally, the legacy of Adam Britton's case should be a more conscious and committed society to animal protection. May this tragic story serve as a catalyst for positive changes, motivating concrete and effective actions to ensure a safer and more compassionate future for all living creatures. Thank you so much for watching this story. Your presence and support are essential for me to continue creating quality content. So, if you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any new episodes. Your subscription and comments are fundamental for me to keep bringing quality content. Leave your opinion in the comments, always with respect for the victims, and together let's build an even better community. Thank you so much for following my work, and I'll see you in the next episode.